Good morning guys, from our lovely cottage here in Yerevan, Armenia, and today is the day that we are finally leaving the city. We've actually spent the last few days exploring what the city has to offer, and obviously you would have seen in the last video that we came slightly outside of the city into the countryside, and today we are finally going to be leaving it. We do have to get a taxi back into the city, so I need to order that very, very soon, and I'm surrounded by so many cats. They haven't left us, which is so cute. As Armenia was actually the first country of Christianity, there are so many UNESCO World Heritage Sites for us to see. Some amazing things. I'm so excited. Today we're going to be seeing a few. I'm not going to go into so much detail because you will see them today, but yeah, I'm so excited. Oh, little cat had a little cough. We decided to do a group tour because driving in Armenia, yeah, there's some crazy drivers, so we decided completely against that, and group tours are such a good value for money. So let's order the taxi.
Send coffee, please. It feels way too early this morning. I need to check on the chickens, actually. The resort we're staying at has chickens. I can't see any of the chickens. I hope these cats, we keep getting followed around by these cats. I hope you haven't eaten the chickens. We're just waiting for the taxi now. Molly, I think this is it.
Really?
Well, I don't know, there's a car coming. We're waiting for our taxi. That's the problem, staying in like an isolated area. The taxis can't find us to take us back to the city. Oh my god, this is so needed. I don't know why, I just cannot wake up at the moment. I think it's because we're going to the gym now, and I have an extra excuse to be a little bit lazy the next day. But I can now tell you, now I'm awake, where we are going today. We are going to Garni Temple, which is a 1st century temple, and Geghard Monastery, a 4th century monastery, which I think without doing a tour you wouldn't be able to do. Like, you could get public transport to one, but then the other one's away from the other one like another 20 miles or a few kilometers. You could rent a car, but this is the first country ever that I've said there is no way I'm renting a car. Literally, as you're driving along in your taxis or walking on the streets, every 5th car is missing either the bumper or the bonnet of the car, so there's absolutely no chance. So I'm really happy that we found Hire Tours, really good tour company. Well, I think it's a really good tour company anyway, and we can combine both of them, as well as a Lavash making workshop, which is like the Armenian flatbread, so that's cool. So we get to do 3 things all in one day.
We found the head office, and we've been told that we are bus number 1. When we come outside, we were like, it's a minivan.
Why would we be the minivan? You've got huge coach, tiny little minivan, but it does look nice.
It's a nice minivan, and I don't think it's too long of a journey anyway.
I was the close ones, that's why obviously we get the small van.
Exactly.
Back at the bus.
Must see touristic destinations in Armenia.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, that was good. We had the whole back of the bus to ourselves, and it took about 30 minutes to make it to Kutaik. That is actually the province we're in, and we are in Garni village, which is actually the biggest village in all of Armenia, actually, with a population of 7,000, and we've made it to the Garni complex because it has more than one historical site. It's actually a complex. Many people just think of the temple, but it is a whole complex. You can come out, you can get your fresh honey, things like that. But we're going straight in.
As we got off the bus, we were also given, this is garta.
Is it garta?
Yeah, so it is the Armenian sweetbread that we actually have had before, filled with butter and sugar. Wow, can you believe that? Are we in Greece? Have we turned up in ancient Rome, ancient Greece? What is going on? This is crazy. We're actually located in the Azad Gorge, which in Armenian, Iranian means free. So technically we are free right now to roam and enjoy the views of these amazing, they're mountains, right? Amazing mountains in the gorge. And will you look at that?
You would not expect to find that in Armenia.
And definitely not in the middle of a gorge.
Wow, the views itself without the temple would be incredible, overlooking the gorge, the mountain, the valleys, but you have this 1st century pagan temple. which is kind of unique because when Christianity was brought in to Armenia, being the first country of Christianity in around the 3rd century, this survived, which is very strange. Most pagan temples would be destroyed, and this is the only one standing. It was actually destroyed by an earthquake in the 16th century and then was only recently restored 300 years later in the Soviet era, around the 1960s. A guy went round looking at every single house from the local village, knocking on the doors, trying to find original bits of the stone, and they found around 30%, so he'd done pretty well. I can't get over these views.
They're incredible, aren't they? Actually, ordinary people were not even allowed to use that, so they wouldn't have been able to appreciate the views.
Allowed
ordinary
to use what?
people, the temple.
Okay.
Ordinary people like me and you were not allowed
There's
in there.
There's a lot of ordinary people today.
Now we can
you'll ever get this
appreciate it.
empty.
Definitely not. And these are the ruins of the royal palace, because the people that were allowed to use the temple were sort of the royalty, the elite, and really important people during the times.
Come on.
Now me and you, and now I'm in the palace.
We do really need to be getting inside the temple, but I feel like you're here mainly for the views. The temple is incredible. Oh my god, I nearly fell over. Imagine I fell down the gorge. And look at this, the views of the gorge. Below, somewhere, is the Symphony of Stones, which is like a rock formation that you can see. It's a 40-minute hike down. If it's a 40-minute hike down, it's going to be like an hour and a half up. And obviously with a tour, we only have like an hour here, which is great. Like we include everything in a day, but if we've done it ourselves, I would maybe say do a tour if you want to combine a few, but if you want to just do this, come and do this, do the Symphony of Stones, go to there's like a restaurant overlooking the gorge. Like, it is insane. Look at this. Welcome to Armenia.
This is unbelievable.
Wow, this is so impressive. Obviously it took a lot of ancient Greek influence. You can see it with the huge pillars and the temple itself, but it's built in such a strategic location. So over the years there was a fortress here, and it was a great place to defend yourself from attacks, because Armenia has had so many invasions over the years, but somehow the only thing that destroyed this was that earthquake. And it's kind of fitting that it's sunny today, because it was built dedicated to the goddess of sun, and it is definitely sunny today. But these views, it's kind of crazy. This was rebuilt in Soviet times.
Yeah, I
so
mean,
it's an ancient 1st century temple
building
that has a slight Soviet influence now.
It doesn't have any resemblance though.
No.
Be fair, you know, and also you can see where, as Matt said earlier, he found the stones. There's all sort of mismatching stones everywhere, and I feel like that adds to it. It looks so pretty.
I feel like we need to get back to the bus.
Right, what's the time?
Like, we have like 5 minutes, and I want to eat my, what was it? Garta. I would recommend, if you don't do a tour, come early, like really early in the morning or late in the evening, because it is very famous, and you're definitely not going to get this place to yourself. Even if you come in the evening, I don't think you will.
We are now at Geghard Monastery, which is a 4th century monastery, and this has a lot of significance for Armenians here. Firstly, Geghard means spear, and they believe that the spear that Jesus was crucified with was actually kept here. It has huge significance because obviously monasteries and churches were sort of the head of everything back during all of the troubles that everyone had. The church was where people were hiding, or where government, politics, money, everything was sort of centered by the church. Again, we're in another gorge, a smaller gorge this time, and it is just a very peaceful complex, actually a UNESCO World Heritage Site as well, which is really, really cool.
We definitely made the right decision doing a tour. The road to get here, no.
I'd like to have seen you drive it.
There is no way I would drive it. And there are a lot of monasteries, churches in Armenia, being the first countries to adopt Christianity. But
there's so many.
You've got to pick and choose, and they've got many of them are UNESCO World Heritage Sites, like this one. But again, you've got to pick and choose. But you're only in Armenia for so long. What ones should I see? You've got to see this. It's unique. It's adjoined to the caves. You've got the huge cliffs over the top of you, and we're actually in the middle of a gorge.
monastery in here, but as I mentioned, it holds great significance and it's super important to the Armenians. Where we're standing right now was the public area, so non-baptized children and normal people like us would stay here, and the elite and very famous or popular people would go in there, but we're actually going to be allowed to go in there, of course.
We can hear this water, like sound of water flowing in the middle of the monastery, and basically there's a fresh spring that flows directly through the middle of the monastery, so it's like, so it's actually right. Only fill up our bottles here, and then we can drink this throughout the rest of the day. Apparently this is as fresh as you're going to get in Armenia. So that is not just fresh spring water, that is actually fresh spring holy water. So perhaps if we drink it, we could become a little bit more religious, Molly.
Now the choir is singing inside the cave and we have to run, just in case we miss it. Wow, we were unbelievably lucky. So the reason why the choir were performing is because in that cave there was the musical school for the monks, and they used to write manuscripts there. Like, oh my god, we were just happening to walk, you know, into a cave, and then all of a sudden we had to rush because we got greeted by the choir. That is so unique.
I think something's telling us to turn to God. First we've had the holy water, and then we've just had a choir like appear, and we've just been pulled into the cave to watch a choir. I wish we had more time here. We've just wandered outside, and they've got this really cool like cascade, small waterfall spring, and this ancient bridge that you can cross to get here. I presume the bridge would be built at the same time as some of the monastery. The rocks look very similar. But this is a lovely spot to just chill out. You can do hiking up the cliffs, through the gorge, which is why, oh my god, I fell over. I love to do it on my own, but to combine everything in one day, this just made the most sense.
I don't know why, but as we're leaving, everyone was throwing these stones into these tiny little cave dwellings, I suppose you could call them, tiny little holes. So.
And to get it in, it's the Armenian Squid Games.
Am I going to be able to do it? That is the question.
Ready?
Oh, close but no cigar.
You wouldn't make it through round one. Is there a reason why people are trying to throw a stone in this hole?
If your stone stays in the hole, your wish becomes true.
Really?
Oh.
There we go. If this goes in, my wish becomes true.
No wish.
I've got to keep on dreaming.
Back on the bus.
Thank you very much. Oh, and we have made it to our third and final stop, which could be the coolest, the most unique. We are going into somebody's local house to cook Lavash, the bread, the official food of Armenia. I mean, house, look at this, it's lovely.
Arbelyan's house, this is called, and actually I have a really funny fact for you. Apparently when Armenians take a photo, instead of saying cheese, they say Lavash. How is this? Their garden. Look, oh my god, is that pomegranate or is that an apple?
Apples,
We have
apple
so
trees.
many fruit trees, we have, oh my god, that was a wasp. That's what happens when you're in a really nice garden.
What? Look at this. They're literally making it right
It's
next
like
to
a mini
us.
little factory, isn't it? So the underground fire, you can say the wooden fire, is called a tonish, and it goes 2 meters down, and the fire's underneath. It's all
Like a
woodland,
candle,
and
right?
it takes like 20 seconds to cook.
This one's 2 meters deep.
That's literally crazy. Look, did you hear that? That's literally when the lavash gets stuck to the side. 20 seconds later, it's done.
I can't believe it has sourdough in.
Yeah, sourdough, water, and other things as well.
Salt, a lot. So apparently we're going to get a go at making it ourselves, which I'm not too comfortable with. There's a big open fire, but we're going to try it first, what they've made. So we've got homemade cheese, we've got some coriander. We've got anything else?
Spring onion.
Spring onion. And you just roll it.
We've only had it plain as well, haven't we?
This is almost char grilled.
You ready?
I'm ready. How do I sit in there? My knees go in?
Feet, put your feet in.
Oh my god.
Is there
Oh, it's good. There's a lot of room for your feet, even with big feet, and then just sit.
Yes.
You are the lavash maker.
Here we go.
Even if it falls?
Even if it falls, we're okay. Apparently, it's
Yeah.
it's
You
about
have to smack it hard as well.
Smack it hard. Slap it.
Go!
Oh, Hold it, hold it, hold it, hold it.
Oh my god.
I
dropped the liver. Geghard, that was embarrassing. I made a fool of myself. I was the only one does anyone want to have a go at making lavash? Yeah, go on then, I'll have a go. And I dropped my lavash, burnt it into ash, and everyone laughed at me. But what a really good tour, I must say. It comes to about 10 English pounds to combine all three of them, which is so good, because doing it on your own, I mean, like, you'd like to spend a lot more time at the two major sites because there's so much to see there, but it'd be so awkward to do on your own unless you rented a driver or booked a taxi for the day, which would be so expensive, and you wouldn't get to do the lavash, which was an extra. Like, we didn't know until this morning that we were going to do the lavash. I'm like, right, that is
but also,
a deal breaker.
Like, going by the groups, you can. You're not surrounded by crowds the whole time. Like you do miss the group every now and then.
Because you have the guide, they sort of know where to take you. And she was like to us, if you want to run off on your own, go and do your thing.
Yeah.
We've done it. I'm still really embarrassed though.
Yeah,
really embarrassed. And we've come into Darget, which is the #1 craft brewery in all of Armenia, and the first one, I believe. We're actually meant to come here in a few days because we're hoping to do a tour of the brewery and try out all the different beers. But because I embarrassed myself, I was like, I need a good stout this evening, so I'm going to try it for the first time.
Let's go.
Oh, it's so good. I love stout now. Since Ukraine, I'm obsessed with stout. I think we're going to get dinner in here as well. Do you know how hard it is for me not to try every beer on the menu, not to try every delicious food on the menu, and to not go inside because I don't want to spoil it?
We are also,
for when we do the tour,
we are also trying to be slightly healthy, so we thought a falafel, that looks an amazing falafel wrap actually. We thought we'll go a bit healthy. My beer's amazing. Good old Pilsner, you can't go wrong. I think all Pilsners are pretty much standard. I think with a stout it's slightly, you know.
You've got, when you go to a craft place, you've got to be like with the stout. So it's chocolatey. There's little hints of coffee.
That's hoppy. That's as much as I can go. All I know is I want my wrap because I'm hungry. Now that was some good food. I am so excited to go back to Darget and try different beers and more of the dishes on the menu because they seem to have such a good menu. I think when we were in Ukraine, we were like, it's really unusual for craft beer places to have such an extensive and unique menu. You come to Armenia and they have a very similar take on the menu, having sort of like a Mexican. They obviously have your burgers, but then they have like healthy things, and we are being incredibly healthy. Like, that is one thing. We might need you guys to comment and remind us to be healthy, but that is one thing that we're going to try and stick to. It just makes you feel so much better. But how great was the tour with Higher Service? That was so much fun, and who even knew Armenia had places like that? Now when you go onto the top 10 in Armenia, Garni and Geghard do come up as one of the best things to see. You can see why I personally preferred Garni, because I feel like being on top or surrounded by the gorge and the mountains was just an unreal scenery. With Geghard, you were inside it, you kind of couldn't appreciate the fact that of where you are, but instead the monastery was built into the caves, into the mountains, like unbelievable. There is so much more of Armenia that we're gonna see, and I just need to comment on how hysterical Matt's lavash was. Like, he literally just dropped it. It didn't even get stuck on the side, but like I said, amazing tour, would highly recommend. We will link them below if you'd wish to use them for any of your tours in Armenia. But we have so much more to come. As I mentioned, there are more tours, more exploring of this beautiful country, so we will see you in the next one for that.